Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. We're your hosts, Kiera Dent
and Dr. Mark Costas.
Mark and I had this crazy idea that maybe we could combine a dentist and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. And Dental 18 podcast was created.
I'm a practicing dentist, a multiple practice owner, a dental performance coach, and the founder of the Dental Success Institute.
I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, current practice owner, and international dental consultant. Mark and I don't just understand you, we are you.
Our goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry by sharing our lessons learned from the road in hundreds of dental offices.
Two perspectives, one mission, to help dental professionals reach their full potential. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. I am Kiera Dent. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. And today it's me and Mark Costas hanging out with you today. Mark, how are you doing over there?
Kiera Dent, what's happening, man? How are you?
I'm great. Mark and I are in two different places today. I am in Houston, Texas, getting ready to go to an office. Mark, where are you today?
I am in Prescott, Arizona, in the dungeon. I'm in the podcast studio right now. I don't want to call it a dungeon. It's not a dungeon. It's a lovely place surrounded by lots of lights. But yeah, it is pre-dawn hours as usual. When we were talking on the phone, Kiera, it is dark outside, like totally dark.
Perfect. Well, everyone, this is mine and Mark's life. This is when we can actually make our schedules coincide. It's typically at the very, very early hours of the morning. So luckily, Mark is willing to get up early most days. So thanks, Mark.
Oh, you're welcome. How does it feel, Kiera? How does it feel to be like an official podcaster? You have been a guest on more podcasts than anybody I know, I think. Everybody wants a little piece of Kiera Dent. But how's it feel to have your own podcast, to be hosting your own podcast? Pretty cool stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you were the one who got me to the podcast. And truth be told, the first time you asked me to do a podcast, I thought it was going to be video, and I really did go put my makeup on, and and you said, Kiera's not going to be video. And I was like, oh, I know. Clearly I have no idea. And you scared me so much that don't worry, only 30,000 listeners will listen to you. And I was so nervous, but I appreciate the opportunity because lo and behold, just not even 2 years later, we now are having our team podcast. So it feels incredible because I think the reason I'm so excited about this podcast is I feel we're serving a population, the teams. Like I didn't have resources as a team member that I'm so excited to just put out there. I mean, so many doctors listen to your podcast and I love it because I would chime in and drop in nuggets for teams. Yeah. Now it's, hey, doctors, come over to the team side because this is where we're giving all those nuggets of how to implement, but we're also sharing with your team. So I'm excited that it's just the mutually beneficial of, hey, doctors, let's tell you and also your teams the same thing to make your lives easier. So I'm excited. It's fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, you've really cut your teeth in the trenches. You had several of your own practices that you owned before you got into this consulting game. So you kind of understood management in front office and back office and schedules and phone skills and all the stuff that you teach every single day, meeting agendas, all that stuff. But now, I mean, you really have been able to fine tune your craft going into hundreds of dental offices, literally hundreds of dental offices. You're on the road every single week. You're going in and you're seeing a different scenario. You will have to admit certain common themes rise to the top, right? I mean, every single office is unique and there's always a new challenge at every office, but boy, certain common themes definitely rise to the top after you've been doing this for a length of time and you've been into hundreds of offices.
For sure. And I think that that's what I've learned the most of. And I love that I've played the team side of it, but I also play the owner side of it. So I really love to give both perspectives, but you're absolutely right. When I go into offices, there are themes that rise up. And so today, let's give all of our team listeners and our doctors some of those tangible themes that we see all the time in offices. And Mark, you see them as well. So we'll give the team side, the doctor side, and really just give you some solid nuggets. So today, same day treatment. How do we add in same day treatment?
Love it. Love it. Okay. So from the doctor's perspective, this is something that is near and dear to my heart because I've seen practices, some of which are my practices that I've owned, completely turn around based on their ability to convert same-day treatment, right? I had many practices. In fact, I have practices now where you'll go in and there's 6 people on the schedule and you're not even a third to your daily goal. And then that day, you check again at the end of the day and they have not only met but exceeded their daily goal because they know how to convert same day treatment. It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Well, and from a team side, everyone asks me like, well, Kiera, how did you guys grow your practices in Colorado? How do you grow a lot of offices? And I'm like, same day treatment, because it's not just a productive standpoint. Like as a team member, I used to sometimes have the perspective of, well, I'm just doing same day treatment to make my doctor more money. But I realized that was totally a wrong mentality to have. The same day treatment was actually better service for our patients. They're coming in, they're taking time off work. And if we're proactive as a team member, to be really transparent and looking ahead, seeing ways that we can help our patients get better health and better care, why wouldn't we want to do that? So that's where it's such a fun thing from both sides of the equation. It can totally change your practice, but also as a team member, it can completely make a VIP patient care that I used to miss all the time. I know I personally miss same day treatment opportunities because I wasn't proactive in my thinking.
Yeah, for sure. So you and I talk about this all the time, this wordsmithing, this word ninja-ing. I think we made a new verb, ninja-ing.
Word ninja-ing.
This word ninja-ing. A big part of it is that it's how we present it to the patient, to make it obvious that they're already here. You know, you might as well do the other 3 teeth in that quad or whatever. But why don't we go through some of the exact steps that you like to cover and train offices on that are needing to increase their conversions for same day treatment?
Definitely. I think it's great because that's all it is. Once I learned that with my words, we could create any type of scenario we wanted. So words create worlds. Our words create worlds. And my good friend Tarly Reed taught me that. Yeah, Tarly, we'll be giving some Tarly tidbits on the podcast because she really has inspired me in a lot. But our words create worlds. And so whatever type of world you want to go into, people ask how I can close same day treatment all the time. And I think, well, because I walk in there assuming they're going to want this. Like, I'm not going to offer it to them if they don't want it. Let's give them what they really want. And having that assumption, I present much differently. So a few things. First and foremost, we talk morning huddles. We'll dive into morning huddles on another episode, but be proactive in your morning huddle. Know which patients you can do same day treatment on so you can be prepared, ready to go, get them back more efficiently, and prep your doctor, because doctors, Mark, give me the perspective, but I have been told, and I have seen working in the dental college, that, you can take an hour to prep a crown, or like if you've got a crown and a filling, you can maybe prep that crown in a few less minutes and be able to also add that filling in without it really compromising any care. Is that accurate?
It's so accurate, but I don't want to give the impression that you have to rush through care. It's funny that the more clinical experience you get, the more you realize that your speed and quality of care increases and improves at the same time. Like, I can do a great crown prep in 10 minutes, and it's a lot better than it used to be when it took me an hour and 45 minutes to do that same crown prep, right? It's all about efficiency. Well, yeah, it's about efficiency. And coming from
the dental college, I remember the dental college when the students, they would have a beautiful crown prep in 10 minutes. But then they'd sit there for the next 2.5 hours of the rest of their test, fine-tuning and actually making it substantially worse than it was at that 10-minute mark. So it's definitely not ever compromising quality. Yes. It's just realizing you can actually make it worse by spending too much time, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but you talk a lot about X's and slashes on the schedule when you're scheduling and making sure that the doctor's only in that treatment area, the period of time that he needs to be there. And typically for most procedures, the dentist isn't even in there for the same amount of time as the assistant. The assistant's in the treatment room longer than the dentist is. The dentist comes in, gets the patient numb, goes out, does something else, either seats a crown or goes and does maybe a recall exam or something like that on the hygiene side, and then comes back for another X doctor time, maybe another 2 10-minute sessions, preps or does whatever, leaves again. The assistant never leaves the patient, but there's definitely ways to maximize the amount of time that the doctor is in with that particular patient without it crashing the schedule.
For certain. And those are those little moments of time, those little X's and slashes. And if you don't know what X's and slashes are, send us an email. We'll be sure to help you out with that. But pay attention.
When you did that training at our last scheduling live event, that was just, I mean, that blew people's minds. X's and slashes, the actual time that the doctor actually has to be in the room. The doctor does not have to be in the room for an hour and 15 minutes during a crown prep. The doctor has to be in the room for like 17 minutes of that whole entire thing. That leaves, 43 minutes for him to do stuff in other rooms without even being too crazy. You just have to plan for it.
For certain. And those are how you can look for those same day treatment opportunities. Those are those small moments because we all have additional time in there. We just sometimes don't see it because we're caught in a mindset. So this is where I'd like each of you to kind of spin your brains, look to see if you can see the schedule a little differently and see where could you add. Start with one same day treatment. Challenge your office. Hey, we were listening to the Dental 18 podcast. Let's try and add one same day treatment per day and just see if we can do it. Because once you push yourself to that new level and that new limit, you will then start to see how you can add it in there. It's kind of like, I never thought I could run a marathon. I could barely run 1 mile. And let's not get crazy. I've run 1 marathon. Don't go too crazy on me. But like the point was, I didn't think I could do it. But now that I pushed myself that I could run a marathon, the level that I feel that I can actually achieve is so much further than I ever imagined. Same thing in your practice. Yeah. If you can get to a point where you add 1 same day treatment, then you add 2 same day treatments, then 3, then 4, then you're just going crazy because you see that it's completely doable and you found those little snippets of time that you didn't think existed.
Yeah. And I love that, Kiera, because there's certain things that just become a part of your culture, right? We used before patient reviews were really big. We used to make sure that we had a certain number of patient with doctor pictures and written testimonials, and we use those in our marketing. And then, online reviews became really big. So now we do the pictures and the written testimonials, and we ask for 5-star reviews. And then, so it became part of our culture. We don't even think about it anymore. It's just part of our normal routine, as part of our normal conversation with our patients. And then, eventually you can add things like same day treatment in there. So it's going to become part of your culture that if you have an extra 15 minutes, there's something in that quadrant, there's something in the opposing quadrant. It makes perfect sense. The patient's already here. You can squeeze that in without crashing the schedule. It's going to become part of your culture that you're looking for that sort of thing in the morning huddle, even if you don't happen to be short for your daily goal as far as production or collections. If it makes sense and it's not going to crash the schedule and nobody's going to know the difference, and you can add an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to the production that day, why not? Why not? That's how you grow. That's how you get to your full potential.
And I want to point out that we are going to talk a lot of numbers because Mark and I run businesses and a dental office is a business. But at the same time, every single thing that I will ever introduce on this podcast will always be first and foremost with the mindset of VIP patient care. When we go and add same day treatment, a patient's already there taking time off work. Is that creating VIP care? 100%. And as an added benefit, it grows the practice. So I want everyone on this podcast to know every single thing that we do is 100% VIP patient care. And if you have that mindset, you will start to see different ways that you can always give that. So action items, Mark, we're always going to give action items of things you can do. I would say every single one of you, try it. But the thing I will say is a lot of offices are like, well, I know Mrs. Jones doesn't want to have this today, or Kiera, she told me last time on the phone. I will give you a quick example that people are allowed to change their minds. And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I was at an office and we were doing a fun little challenge, and I had 2 pins picked out because they're going to do, whomever is the greatest at this contest. And I said, oh, we could have a gold star, or we could have this like glittery goat, because goat, I just learned, stands for the greatest of all time. I did not know that. So anyone out there in the world, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Mark, did you know that?
I did, because Ronaldo had a picture in Sports Illustrated where he was holding a goat, and Messi had something to say about that. So Messi then took a picture of him holding a goat. And for you non-soccer fans, those are 2 of the best soccer players in the world. So they were taking jabs at one another by each claiming that they were the best of all time without even saying a word. They were holding a goat, greatest of all time.
See, I had no idea. So anyway, so the point
was, you got to get out more often.
I do. Kiera. It's okay. We will share life experiences with you as well on this podcast. But anyway, so I'd asked the team members, okay, do you want the gold star or the goat? And they're like, gold star, gold star, gold star. They told me gold star. And then I said, you know what? Like, just look at this picture. Guess what they got? They got the goat pin. So even though they had told me, I want the gold star, I want the gold star, I just asked them, showed them the picture and said, okay, which one? Do you want the gold star? Do you want the goat? And they chose the goat. And the reason I use that example is because so often we assume and we project, and that's why we don't get same day treatment, because we think and we project a scenario that's not even real. So always ask your patients. If I come in and I said I only want the one filling, as long as I haven't been super mean and angry and you're clearly not listening to me. Hey, Kiera, you're here today. I know we've got you scheduled for that one filling. Just so you know, we have a crown. Dr. Costas might be able to sneak you into the schedule if that works in your schedule. That way you don't have to take more time off work and you only have to get numb one time. Yeah. You're able to present a really positive opportunity for this patient. I'm assuming that they want to do it. That's how we are able to create the great success of same day treatment. Mark, do you have any closing thoughts? I
do, and I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. But now that we are speaking to team members, there's doctors listening as well, but we're speaking to team members right now. I want you guys to recognize that if you're pushing production, it does not mean that you are not 100% on board for making patient care your number one priority, right? If we're talking numbers, and you hear us talking about numbers and pushing production and growing the practice from a revenue standpoint, that does not mean that we're putting aside the importance of clinical care. You guys have to embrace the idea that your doctor is spending money on continuing education. Your doctor is the best in the community, right? So if that is true and you really truly believe that, and everybody that's working for somebody should truly believe that you are working for the best office in the community, right? So if you truly believe that, you embrace that understanding and that idea, I believe it is your moral obligation to get as much of that work that has been treatment planned done, right? So there's several layers here. If you believe that you have the best dental office in the community, that means that you are the most ethical dental office in the community. That means that you believe in the treatment plans. You're not doing any unnecessary treatment. Everything that is on the treatment plan is necessary. That means that then the further on down that ladder means that it is your ethical obligation to get them to agree to as much treatment as possible because it is in their best interest. So it is not about the dollar bills. It is about doing what's best for the patient. And if you can wrap your head around that, then you will no longer have these ethical dilemmas that, is this about the money or is this about patient care?
For certain. And I love that you have that because as a team member myself, I remember having some of those exact thoughts. But I will tell you, as I watched and things like this, if the doctor that I trust, that I believe in, that I work for has diagnosed the treatment, my job is to help the patient get it done. And at that point, money is a thing. We're going to talk money. We'll talk insurance because we've got some strong opinions on that. And obviously we want your input. We want your feedback on different things that we can do, but we're going to offer some different perspectives, some different points of view. And all we ask on this podcast is that you're open and you take the things that resonate with you. You try a few different things and you look to see how you can become the very best version of yourself. We don't call this the Dental A-Team podcast for nothing. We believe that being a perfect A-Team team member is by being the best version of yourself. So thank you, Mark, for that perspective. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Great stuff, Kiera. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Mark. And team members, go out there, try it out, and we will catch you next time on the Dental A-Team podcast.
And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A-Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.